Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today something new. Karri and I were out taking a walk and we decided that, well, what are we doing today, Karri?
We're chatting.
We're just going to have a very informal chat about, well, everything that's been going on lately, not only with us, but with YouTube and with the RV lifestyle on YouTube and kind of our take and everything like that. There's no script, there's no anything. We're going to try to remember some of the questions that were asked along the way. And
so I'm not being quiet on purpose because I really don't know what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, a lot of the things on YouTube, it's kind of funny, right? One of the first things that you either love us or hate us for what we do and what our mission statement is. And one of the things that's been going on lately in YouTube seems to be a lot of fear. They like to instill fear on people. They like to just kind of discredit themselves because, well, as you're seeing, and I'll use Battleborn as the newest thing. Battleborn sponsored probably every RVer on the planet. And now they're going, hey, we're throwing these Battleborn batteries away and we're getting these new batteries that are going to be better and more superior, and you get the point. So I think what's happening is, well, it's rather interesting. We're seeing people kind of fall off, not really have the audience they once had, because I think people are starting to want a little bit of a different opinion and a different style of YouTube. What used to be, well, let's put it this way. When we first started watching YouTube, who did we watch?
Traveling Robert, Less Junk, More Journey.
And we watched these channels pretty much in their infancy.
Yeah.
And what was great about, like, we'll use Less Junk, More Journey, Nate and Marissa, right?
Yeah.
We first started watching them. The first video we had ever seen from Nate and Marissa was Captain Underpants.
Oh my gosh, the McAfee knob.
McAfee knob, and it was a hiking video.
Yep.
And that's how we found them. And through finding them, we found Traveling Robert.
Mm-hmm.
I believe at the time when we found Nate and Marissa, they had only had maybe 20,000 subscribers. And we had never even heard of such a thing as RV life.
Their
right?
little girl was still in a stroller.
That's, yeah, this is going back. This is probably
Long time
2016 at least.
Yeah.
And their video might have been a year old at that point.
Yep.
And we fell in love with their style. I mean, it was cinematic. Nate does and I'm assuming it's Nate that does the editing and stuff. He does a phenomenal job. And they just had this kind of accept us for who we are attitude about RV life, and it was interesting to us. And then we watched Traveling Robert, and we are like the biggest Traveling Robert fans, and I'm going to tell you why. So we're watching Traveling Robert, and it was back when he was doing, it was like Road Nomad was his channel name.
Oh, geez.
And you can see that he's got this entertaining quality about him, but he also has this very easy, laid-back thing. And when we started talking about doing YouTube, we reached out to him and said, hey, we'd like to see you in Hershey. And this guy took the time to not only reply, but he liked what we were doing on YouTube. You know, and by liked, we mean he liked our post on Facebook or something like that. But he took the time to just be a gentleman about things.
He still does.
And he still does, yeah.
Anytime I have a question, I'm like, sorry to bother you. He's like, oh, no worries.
It's just one of the nicest people in that you could do, you know, anybody on this platform, right? For the most part, when you start, you're always fresh and new, right? And you always have this picture, well, I'm going to do YouTube differently than everybody else. And we didn't want to do anything different than Traveling Robert until we found out how much work it is to be Traveling Robert. The first video we ever made was down in Ocean City, and I remember doing voiceovers, and it was horrendous. And that video, my God, we should have just destroyed it. But we released it. And it was horrible, right? And you realize very quickly that there's an awful lot of work that goes into making those level videos. And let's face it, I don't have the knowledge. Some of these guys have spent a lot of time with film schools and stuff like that. It was interesting. And so we just started just doing our own little thing and doing our style of videos, which was, well, rather terrible. It was just like, but you know, it's when you're caught into it, you really think you're doing well. It was great. For us, we were, you know, just seeing us on a YouTube channel was amazing. And then where else did we go? We went from that, we went to
Oh, geez.
just doing kind of random stuff along that lines, and we bought our Winnebago, and we started traveling more, and we started doing it. And the pandemic hit, and once COVID, forget about it, right? And you're just trying to stay on top of your YouTube channel, and come November, when we sold everything to go full time, we had been making videos up until that point, and January was about the time where Karri and I said we were done with YouTube. We had a little over 1,000 subscribers. You weren't going to make any money on it. There's a lot of money that goes into the equipment and everything. And we just said, well, we're done. And then we realized that we had just bought that GoPro that we were using probably about 4 months earlier. Well, you kind of have money invested in it. Mm-hmm. So what we really needed was, well, these wireless microphones, which made a huge difference.
Yep.
And we said we're going to make a run for it and run at it, and it didn't go anywhere. And then April, I think, was the whole thing with the internet thing. We're not going to go into that again, but it just kind of people, you know, we got past that wall.
Well, prior to us leaving, though, like New England, nobody likes videos on New England.
Oh yeah, they say to do what you know.
They really don't. They suck bad.
Yeah, they say to do what you know, right? And I could make videos all day long on marketing and sales and, you know, advocacy and mental health and all this other stuff that we know from our own personal backgrounds. But we made videos in New England, and boy, nobody likes New England. Nobody wanted to see New England videos. It was horrible. But when we started doing this, like, it became a thing in Orlando, and that was probably about our 4th month in. But for us, being full-time, maybe 6 months at that point. But it was kind of like one of those things that we just said, well, now we're going to push a little more. And what happens if we make 2 videos a week? Do we even have enough to say? And then people started watching, people started subscribing, and even then we were kind of still like, we really want to do this. And I think when we hit the Keys, we did like one of our second live stream. The Keys was like our wedding anniversary. And I think we had maybe 60 people watch that, and we still sat down and we said, you know, why are we doing this? Like, it doesn't seem fun, right? And well, it was right after that live stream that we started getting emails about people's life stories. Mm-hmm. And that was, you know, we said it in many videos over the past few months that life stories to us mean everything. It's the life force that moves this channel. And it was life stories of people just in all different circumstances, everything from cancer to divorce to lost partners and parents and sisters and people who've lost their children, and just kind of like even people who have just lost their way in life. Yep. For some background, I do sales, and I've just kind of been my thing for years. And Karri's ran a funeral home, so if
you ever want to know why I'm quiet, my whole job was to listen and to make the most, I'll try to make the best of the worst situation for somebody. So.
And I can say that it's from somebody who's, well, not to get too personal, but I've buried a brother, I buried a mother, and my mother still travels with us, but quite a few family members. And Karri, there is nobody better at that role of being a comforter and a nurturer than my wife. And what she did in her funeral home days is something that, like, I don't even think I've ever told you, just how incredibly proud of you I was through all of that, and still am. But Karri's role has always been, you know, she's the listener and I'm the yacker. It's just the way our lives are, right? And when we met, she didn't speak at all. And so it's kind of been this thing with YouTube. And like so we've said a few times that we were going to quit. Yep. And there's always something that brings us in. And now we feel that we're at a point that we can't quit. No. I think we can't quit because, well, it would just, to us, this is not a thing of about lifestyle. This isn't even about RVing. Our channel really should never even be in the RV format or genre, because, well, our whole thing is about lifestyle. And just basically just taking an alternative. And I don't care what it is, but Karri, no matter the issue, right? Karri and I always have a different opinion on something, or a different take of, how do I put this? I'm going to try not to make this something that we edit out, but we've always have an alternative look at things, whether it be politics, whether it be child rearing and raising and all that stuff. We've always taken a different approach than the quote unquote norm, because, well, life is boring inside the norm. And this is why RV life kind of stuck with us and resonated with us. You know, we're outdoors people. We, at heart, we like to do things. The AT is very important and very special to us, and hiking and stuff like that. So if you ever wanted to know what this was, this is really a symbol of not only hiking the AT for the first time for us, but it was also a symbol of starting our love affair with YouTube and being able to tell stories, because if it wasn't for those searches of hiking sections in Virginia, we never would have known about any of this.
Yep.
So that comes in. So that's number one of the questions. We're going to have another Q&A video coming out, because, boy, you guys are bombing us with questions. But the other thing comes down into what's our stance on other YouTubers. And I am a very harsh person off screen. I believe things are very cut and dry. And if you lie to me, or if you lie to anybody, no, I don't waver on certain things, right?
True.
And what we see with YouTube, what used to be, and this is where it's going to come full circle, where it used to be just presenting a story. And while Traveling Robert still does that, we haven't watched Less Junk, More Journey in quite some time.
They still do. I see their stuff from time to time.
But what we've seen is a transition from that storytelling mode, and, you know, subscribe if you want and donate if you can, that type of mode, to in-your-face advertisements. And now look, just so that we're clear, I have no problems with any channel being sponsored by any company. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't upset me in the least. I think every content creator deserves the right to get paid for their creations, because this stuff is a lot of work and a lot of expenses. As ultimately, no matter how much, if you're just like us who like making videos, there's still money tied into it, and it still has to be something that there's a reward for it at the end. So I have no problems with sponsorships. What I have a problem with is the money grab that becomes part of every channel that hits a certain level, and some do it right out the gate.
I think the storytelling stopped
right
when COVID became a problem and nobody could leave. So the peddling of products in your face became more prevalent than
absolutely
prior to that.
So, you know, in sales, we're always told form a relationship first, because once you form that relationship, you have everything. And what we've seen, and it doesn't matter to me what their previous occupation was, they seem to nail this sales technique down, which is, well, make a friend. And because it's always hard to turn down your friend, right? And that's why we hear all the time, if there's a channel that we call out, well, how can you dare say that? These people are such sweethearts, and they're well, I'll use Eric, Nomadic Fanatic, as a perfect example. Now, Eric's probably one of the original van lifers, RV lifers, who just started out making videos, right? And he's probably one of the most controversial of all of YouTube, with his 230,000 subscribers by now. And here's the thing, right? You either love Eric or you hate Eric. At his core, Eric makes videos, right? And he's gone to school for that, and he's done a great job. And Eric has done a fantastic job of showing a lot of people over the years, a lot of this country that couldn't get out to see that. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what Eric does do is, whenever Eric gets backlash, because he went through at the start of his thing, he had breakdowns and he didn't know how he was going to pay and fund his whole journeys and whatever, he started selling merchandise, and he started selling stickers, which way back then was a new concept. And people started calling him an e-bagger, and then they started hopping on him because, well, how dare you make a living off of a free platform. And Eric's kind of learned just to roll with the punches. And we're not friends with Eric by any stretch. And I've called Eric out, so it doesn't matter to me on that level. But when we started watching YouTube and we started really diving into Eric's content, I mean, we binge watched Eric's for a long time just to learn part of the country and a different style of RVing. Mm-hmm. It was funny that Eric started going, I know, don't do what I do. Don't, yeah. And we were like, wow, how can you be so dismissive of an audience?
What an attitude.
And how dare you? And then we started seeing comments because, well, the comments that people leave him are just disgusting. And some of the comments, even the comments that we've gotten over time, everything from, you need to let your wife speak.
In the same video, yes, you need to let me speak. I'm controlling.
Yeah, there was both that same video. She is told that she's controlling me.
Yeah, he just needs to go. Run away.
Yeah, and then the other side was he needs to leave because he doesn't let you speak.
Right.
And it was funny because once you start seeing this, you start understanding a little more. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting thing because how this goes back to building friendships is that even with Eric's on-screen presence and his brash demeanor, which he does reel in from time to time, there is still a hardcore that if you ever said anything bad about him and his kitties, they will just burn you at the stake. And that's connecting with your audience.
It's true.
Now, Eric has promoted an internet company over the past, and he's promoted a new company currently, and he's done some reviews, whatever. Mm-hmm. But Eric, by and far, is nothing compared to some of the channels that we've called out because of the constant shilling. Now, Eric puts out a video and says, I'm traveling to Washington with my cats. That's a video. And he'll, hey, upload here and look at this and whatever, right? Where we have a problem is the channels that go, my RV flooded. And it was a water drip from the faucet and into the sink and out, and it never flooded. Just so that they can sell you whatever product. And
I have a black tank issue.
Oh, geez.
Well, your kid just forgot to flush.
Right.
Like, come on.
Right. And that's where the state of YouTube, especially as Karri had mentioned during the pandemic, kind of exploded in this direction.
Yeah.
Where it's a money grab because, well, you're only going to watch them for so long, and that's why you have all this stuff. Hell, we've done clickbait titles, and some of them we didn't even do on clickbait on purpose. Apparently, it was just clickbait because you need to be seen. Now, once you reach a certain level, I'll say maybe my personal feelings on clickbait, once you reach about 30 to 40,000 subscribers, you no longer need to clickbait your audience or else you're doing something wrong. And that's where these massive channels come in. And they're clickbaiting because they want to sell you something. And where we have a problem with it is, and you can see it yourselves, it's these channels that are pumping out 5 videos a week, 3 to 5 videos a week. Every one of them has a different sponsor. Every one of them has a different angle. They can't make a social media pitch anywhere. They can't even put up a picture without it being sponsored by somebody. Mm-hmm. And it just becomes this thing where it's like, that's what takes away from the RV life. And that's terrible. It's gotten to the point now, and by the way, for those of you wondering, we're in Lakes Hill, Texas, and we are at Thousand Trails, Medina Lake. And yes, there used to be a lake over here, but it's the drought time and there's no water in the lake. And it's a man-made lake and the water will come back eventually. But during the pandemic, especially Thousand Trails, people liked to put, hey, look, I'm here, right? And we've got this shot set up specifically for this talking point. There's a mountain over there. It's beautiful here, right? And they only showed this part. This RV park is nice in sections. Mm-hmm. Other sections, it looks like a third world country. And that's just my take on it. They're doing renovations here, whatever. But Thousands Trails was sold right at the beginning of the pandemic. I'm trying not to make any edits here. But right at the start of the pandemic, you had a flood of YouTubers promoting Thousand Trails because they found out about it. And they were able to get referral money for promoting Thousand Trails. And they promoted it as being this Instagram-worthy spot everywhere you go, okay? And then people started buying it sight unseen, and they started traveling. Now, if you're expecting this kind of view at every 1,000 trails, go back and watch our video from Terracea in Florida. That was like basically a trailer park.
If that.
If that. And you're not going to see this kind of view everywhere, right? And you have to have the mindset of rolling with the punches with 1,000 trails. There's good, there's bad, and whatever. Every single one of them that we've been to is 100% safe that we've been to. Never once feel an issue of that, right? But your level of standards, you might not like potholes. You might not like the fact that you can feed deer here and they will come up to you on a routine schedule because they're right out there at 3 o'clock every day and 7:30 every morning.
Yeah.
But people started getting on the road after buying these memberships and getting to 1,000 trails and going, oh my God, this is no better than a state park. Well, that's why we like it. And then what happened was, once they made their money selling all these things and getting their kickbacks from the secondary market and the primary market for 1,000 Trails memberships, they saw the backlash. And now everybody has come off of the 1,000 Trails bandwagon. And they've created such a hatred for 1,000 Trails that they're now promoting boondocking. Because, well, with boondocking, they can sell you more stuff, batteries and solar panels and all these things that unless you're going to be ultra hardcore boondocking G.I. Joe guy, you're never going to use any of that stuff. And it takes away from what you have here, which is natural beauty. So it's kind of like, I might have lost my train of thought where we're going with this.
I would almost be disappointed to see water back in there. It is so pretty.
Well, by the end of this video, we're going to turn the camera so you can see. But
it's beautiful.
That brings us to where we are with YouTube now, and not just us, but YouTube in general. I think there's a lot of people, based on the comments that we've received over the past couple of months even, as our channel has gone crazy. At the time of this recording, we're hitting 8,500, which, I mean, we were not even a year ago. What are we, October?
Yeah.
11 months ago, we only had 1,000 subscribers, which if you're a YouTuber, you know how to get to this level it's not easy. So I think you're starting to see this change in viewer habits to go back to pre-pandemic levels. And, it's going to be an interesting thing to see the change. And you're already starting to see them trying to come out and combat it with the positivity message and everything else. People like us that want the truth out there, we're not being negative. We just want you to know what the truth is. And, at the same time,
the place is crap. I'm going to tell you the place is crap.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It is what it is.
That's pretty much it. Just kind of an informal thing. See, Karri does speak. We'll have maybe more of these. Let us know in the comments below if you want more of these kind of like casual talking segments. Some of them have.
Yeah, send in your questions. We'll
more
than happy to answer.
Yeah, we'll try
anything.
I have enough questions from emails that I could probably make 4 videos of questions. But seriously, let us know below what you want to see from our channel. Where do you want to see us go? Because, I mean, there's a lot of you here that are here because I rant every once in a while. I don't want to be a rant channel because I think after a while it's not good for anybody.
No.
I like to promote, happiness and this, which is nature. And before I forget, now I'm wearing some really good athletic shorts. I'm not sharing those with you, but I'm going to turn you around and I want you to see what we're dealing with here. And if I can figure out how to do this. So way out here, you're going to get me, way out here is where the lake used to be here. It's absolutely amazing. I believe I'm kind of a little cockeyed, so we'll hold it up here. But this all used to be a lakefront, and it's great. But even without the lake, there is just an amazing amount of wildlife, absolutely incredible, and we highly recommend this place. That's really what this whole YouTube should be about. Not about which camping world is going to close, which RV manufacturer is the worst, 9,000 ways to clean your black tank. It should just be about this and loving one another and having a positive just experience in general, and not just a hashtag to make your channel look different. You know what I mean? So now, this is probably the only edit we're going to make, is we just kind of turned the camera around and got lost in it ourselves. But I think at the end of the day, we'll just leave you with our normal thing. thing, which is we hope that you're doing well. We hope that you're living life the way you want. And if not, well, Karri and I both hope that you get to redesign your life. Till next time, I am Bob.
I'm Karri.
We'll catch you in the next one.